Varus J4 being taken away. These are the two most common picks that BLG like to just immediately snag up. So we'll be seeing a little bit of a diversion from kind of their comforts in drafting here, as last pick going to be the Ezreal. So we talk about the priority on that pick. Ryze is still up and is a very strong champion in my opinion. So I feel like if we just want to give Knight one of the best characters in the game and one of the best characters in mid, we can probably snag that one up immediately, unless we have a bot lane duo that we really want to fish for on one.
True. I do appreciate that sometimes when we can have that first pick and then set it up after you see what the first couple answers are going to be. But we'll see what BLG want to prioritize. As of now, it is going to be the Vi. So still the possibility of seeing Knight's Ahri, if that's going to be the case. But a setup tool so far for Shun.
And now I think this is going to force AL to respond with a jungler, at least in the first three. They don't have to do it right away if they want to give themselves a solid mid-jungle duo. I think that is an option if they wanted to go for something like the Pantheon to establish that global pressure. Along with the Ryze, I wouldn't hate that duo at all. And yeah, I think that this is just setting up for Shanks to be on a comfort pick, right? We said his two most played were the Azir and the Ryze, so glad to see that he is getting one of his more comfortable champions right out of the gate. And double magic damage solo laners right away, as Flandre going to pick up his Rumble. Again, this is a champion that requires resources, Mazel, and we need to see Flandre be a little bit more active in the laning phase, not go behind in gold at 15 like he traditionally does.
Champion's very, very good. There's a reason why it's like always pick ban priority. But see if Flandre can get that one going. And we'll see what the answers are going to be, though. Interesting first phase here where we're really relying on second phase to be the fill out for the bot lane. It's looking like the top side trios are going to be what the focuses are. We get the Ambessa as the answer into the Rumble, and we will potentially see the mid lane pick coming through here. Something to set up with the Vi, and it's going to be the TF coming through. We've been seeing some pros around the world starting to play this a little bit more.
This is a lot of lockdown from the side of BLG on the top side. I mean, you've got Vi ult, you've got Ambessa ult, you've got Twisted Fate gold card, and then the Destiny on top of that to follow up with any aggressive plays that Shun might want to make once he gets that R key available to himself. So this is kind of an interesting decision from AL. I feel like post level 6, you should be expected, especially on the top side, to have pretty much your entire jungle just kind of zoned away from you. I mean, with that Twisted Fate Destiny just active, I feel like it puts so much pressure. So Tarzan going for the Nefiri, I think is a really interesting choice.
It was an insta slam too.
I know. So this kind of feel, I mean, obviously this is a Tarzan comfort pick, but I feel like in the context of BLG's top side might be a little bit difficult to operate if he doesn't jump out to an early lead before Twisted Fate gets that Destiny, and once those invades inevitably start flooding through from BLG. As we do go into the second phase here, I will say for BLG, for all of their snap engage, I do think they want a pretty consistent source of damage. So we are seeing AL take away things like the Caitlyn. I wouldn't be surprised if they took away something like the Yunara as well. I think that is another good champion that can really capitalize off the engages. Corki too could also be something with just his level of burst, being able to, like, you know, bounce off of the gold cards and the lockdown that BLG have provided. So interested to see what Viper has, you know, stored in here for the BLG second phase, as it seems like both teams are just concerned with taking away bot laners. The Ziggs ban is going to be targeted as an APC takeaway.
Yeah, they're just fully focused on that bot lane. No Bard yet, so maybe we do end up getting a Bard game coming through. But I you know, looking at the Nefiri pick, like, you do wonder if hindsight's going to be 2020 and you're going to want something that maybe was more facilitative towards those lanes. But there is the Bard ban in the end. But I do wonder if that proactivity from Tarzan is going to make the difference and how they can kind of utilize that here, especially now that we're going to begin the bot lane picks. We'll still have the counter pick available for anyone's legend, the traditional red side counter pick, and that'll be saved for Kael.
I mean, you need something with mobility, so I'm kind of glad that AL snag up the Corki. I was getting a little bit worried when I saw the Jhin lock-in. I know it's a hope special and a comfort pick, but I mean, you're so susceptible to gold cards and you're so susceptible to just the BLG lockdown. So having something with the Valkyrie in store, I think, is going to help Hope out pretty significantly. As we talked about BLG needing a consistent source of damage on that bot side, but they're hovering the Jhin, so it seems like they really just want to capitalize off of that lockdown with the Deadly Flourish, and they're going to pair the Karma up with it on top of that. So BLG seems like they really want to make it so that top jungle are kind of the stars of the show, and then if it gets to late, Viper and Knight will have items enough to really start pushing out that damage. Mazel. Now
yeah, they'll have a lot of lockdown, a lot of follow-up, but I also just really like the Jhin Karma for the lane. The push and the prio that you can get is so detrimental to AL, but we'll see if they can find the answer. It's going to be the Nautilus for Kael, so we will actually see that one coming through for the first time of the split for him, and it's going to be trying to counteract some of that push prio, some of the poking that BLG is going to have.
All right, so for all of the poking and prodding that you talk about for BLG, AL have very, in my opinion, little ways of actually disengaging a fight. Minus Tarzan, if you get caught by any of the lockdown on this top side, you're probably dead. Hope, again, does have that Valkyrie, so there is a chance to escape, but if the chain CC comes through, you're absolutely going into the gray screen. So I'm a little bit concerned about AL's draft here. I think that if BLG are allowed to play their style, this is exactly what we expect from BLG, right? In your face, fully aggressive, go in comps that they really specialize at. The hands gap that you talked about early in the pregame, Mazel, is really coming through here, and I think that AL, they do have scaling, and I think that they do have a sizable mid to late game power spike, but it's going to be very difficult for them to wade through this early game. Once the level 6s from topside come through, I feel like BLG are going to be putting their foot on the pedal and going 150 miles an hour, aiming at the Pandas.
They've had an impeccable split so far, only a couple losses, and those being to TES and NIP. Both quick bleeds, right? 2 zeros for them, 2-0 losses, and it's a great season from BLG, but this is a matchup that has the ability to put AL in a promising position. It's second seed on the line for them. Game number 1 of our last series, the LPL, starts now. Shanks getting distracted, you know, the fandom. There's just so much yelling.
I know, but like you said, the last BO3 before the fabled and faded best of 5s start to come through on the playoffs. Wait. I am also very much so looking forward to that. Further destroying my sleep schedule. It's always a good time, Mazel. But this is really just kind of the last look that we're going to get for these guys. And I think for AL, who have had a pretty turbulent spring split, they did kind of start out pretty rough, but then had a bit of a bounce back sort of midway through. As we do see Tarzan looking for an invade, but there's a ward here. He's going to be spotted out. He went Raptors
into enemy red side. Pain's going to be coming through now as well. Vision down, so they do know where Shun is, and be able to play this bot side. Love this setup, as we are going to get the early flashes coming through. As that was an attempted engage by Kael, do get the flash, the heal out of On.
Yep, good level 2 spike, understanding that they get it first, and they can immediately look to burn both summoners off of On, so the Karma going to be susceptible, but the Karma also going to spot out the Nefiri here.
I mean, they all knew that he was here. The root's going to come down. Kyle's trying to come over. Tarzan might have just tossed out this early game here. He's getting corralled right now like the dog that he's playing. And it's going to be Tarzan going down first blood to Viper. Oh, Bin? Solo kill by Flandre. Oh, Snake Man still got it. Rumble solo bolo for Flandre.
And that's what I like to see. We talked about Flandre needing to be active in the early game, and that is plenty active for my liking. Second kill of the game going over to the AL top laner, but it doesn't seem like the action is stopping yet. Kael's looking for Knight.
What did we talk about? Those roams from the support role. They get the flash burnt from Knight, who is going to throw back a little bit onto Kael, but you'll take that. The flash being down is huge.
Now Shun
Oh
has
my
made
god,
his
we're
way to
already
the area.
getting
We're all
the
mid lane.
3v3s. He's going to get the flash play, the dredge line. That lollipop is going to sting as we get the flash play from Shun as a return. It's 2-2 already, 3 minutes in, over a kill a minute. It is chaos for our last series, and it's now Tarzan getting a little bit lower. Shun trying to go in for the fight onto him, tries to go for him, but he gets the flash out. Now Shun's in some trouble, tries to get the third strike. We're going to get the TPs coming back in for the mid lane too. On's going to root him up though. Kael's going to be in a little bit of hurt here as Shanks does rejoin the fight, but a crazy, chaotic early trade mid lane 3v3.
It's mayhem, Mazel. Everything is going absolutely wild here. We're not even 4 minutes into the game, and both teams are pseudo 5-manning toward the mid lane.
But that's just how they play, right? Like, that's what we were talking about so much, as these teams play off of their junglers, play off of these roams, off of these moves, and we're already seeing it.
Yeah, and I love to see it too, as we're actually going to go into the top side play to see how this kind of solo kill panned out for Flandre. So, does get the overheat. Bin is actually the one to get level 3 first, but, you know, Deathfire Touch is a rune in League of Legends, Mazel, and it's working overtime here.
Ruining,
whittles him down.
The ruiner.
Yeah, literally just whittles him down with the burn. The double burn, I guess I should say. Keystone plus Flamethrower, and yeah, Flandre gonna get his first kill of the game. Slightly overshadowed by the fact that Viper was the one to get first blood. But we'll have to wait and see kind of how that ends up paying out for BLG, because like we said, this Jhin is more looked at as a facilitator toward the top side. So if they can kind of move the needle a little bit here for BLG on this bot lane, I'll be interested to kind of see how the adaptation comes through for both of these teams.
We're going to continue seeing some jungle prio going to Tarzan. It's a beautiful rune prison, and Shun cannot escape the grips of AL as Tarzan looks for the invade again and finds a kill.
Yup, Tarzan getting his first as well, so we should be able to reset and get that Dirk power spike. This is really when Neferi can start to look online. Flandre ults the wave, but misses the cannon, Lennon.
Dude, Shanks is going for another play. He's not level 6 yet, but he is just going to go for it. Okay, Destiny Gate's going to be pumped in the top side. Flandre in some trouble. It's a play on top of a play, and Knight is the one that makes it. It's Bin that gets the kill.
Yup, I mean, Shanks, like you said, didn't have that global ultimate. Knight said, he heard you talking, Lennon. He was like, wait, he doesn't have ult? Oh, wait, I do. Here we go. And then they get a kill onto Flandre. So Rumble ends up going down. Shanks is going to actually be forced to catch this mid wave. So we're going to see a bit of a rearrangement, I think, maybe of the lane assignments. Flandre's actually going back top. So it'll be a bit of a delay on the role quest, actually, for Shanks. On top of that, he might actually miss like half of this wave as he's trying to go back to the lane. This could open up the door to Knight maybe looking to make a play on the side lane, even without ultimate, still trying to apply that pressure.
Ooh, Viper extending a little bit too far there. He's going to play into his traps, should be just okay. There is a move from Tarzan coming over, though. But Viper, no mana, half health bar. Dredgeline goes a little bit wide, but Tarzan still wants it. They're going to go for a dive. They know that Viper doesn't have any mana. He's in so much trouble
Knight
here.
is moving.
He's going to try to walk his way away, but the bleeds sink deep. It's going to be a nice proc from Hope that gets the kill. Dredgeline goes wide again. Kael misses another one. Knight's going to try to find the kill. On is the one that picks it up. Shanks comes over with the Realm Warp finally enabled. It's going to be a try to push this lane out, try to get these minions dead, but Knight's now going to fight back into it. On's in some trouble now, too. They're going to lock him down, take him out. Hope might pay the ultimate price, but he's fine with the barrier proc. It's going to be the Valkyrie exit, and Knight can do nothing but watch as they exit the base. They took the kill, and they find prosperous early games for AL.
Yeah, AL with a really good dive, and I mean, respect to them for actually understanding that Knight can't really do much to turn that dive around. I mean, he's got a catalyst, so there isn't a lot of AP for the Twisted Fate. He's not packing a ton of damage. Really, all you need to be worried about is that gold card, and you can wait that one out. That's exactly what AL do. So, really bloody early game start, but I mean, and we talked about this being like BLG's comfort zone, right? When the games are chaotic, when the games are messy, that's what they love. But funnily enough, most of these skirmishes are going the way of the Pandas. So they're actually perfectly fine with the game state right now.
I think that's where you're seeing the benefit of this Nefiri pick. Tarzan's comfort here, but also being able to fight these fights out and have a little bit of an advantage over Sun. As we're going to see, level 6 proc. That's going to be Hound's pursuit on who was not expecting the wolves to come after him. And that will be a kill granted over to Shanks. Meanwhile, Ben misses the solo kill. He will be okay for now. He barely makes out the equalizer. Is the burn. DFT. Oh, it's not enough.
Doesn't go down. Both top laners quite literally limping. Oh, Knight!
We won't talk about it, Knight. We won't. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Viper's dead. He's got no one to back him up.
Just a lonely Jin in a Jin where, oh my God, they're going to TP. Knight's coming in. Viper is already dead, but Sun and On and Knight have joined the fight. It's going to be a move over the wall. Early flash from Hope. Still gets rooted down. Still gets cease and desisted. You shall not pass, says BLG. And they're going to collapse now onto Kael. Kael's in some trouble. Sun's about to just kill Tarzan here. One more Vault Breaker would make the difference. Kael getting out with a nice Spider-Man dredge line, but not for long as Knight throws a card into his back. And just like that, it is BLG back with a huge advantage on the bot side.
I don't think they're done yet, Mazel. They do not want to let Tarzan get away from this, but now AL are responding with a TP of their own.
I don't think I've ever seen more TPs used in the first 10 minutes of the game.
I would tend to agree with you, actually. I think that this has been such a and we did a really good job at being able to buy time there. And we're back.
We're back. Look at that. Complain meta is the meta. Don't let anybody else tell you differently. As BLG going to be starting up the dragon here. We were talking a little bit about those objectives. It is going to be a pretty late dragon, so it does seem like we're going to be going to a little bit of a later stacking game. On the other side, though, we do have the grubs available. Some push prio for AL from Flandre, though.
Yep, and we see grouping just around this top side from AL. They're going to look for a cross map, but I wonder if they're going to just go for a dive here. They actually see the dragon, and they're like, all right, we know that Shun is on the bot side, but Bin is pretty darn tanky. He has that Hex Shrinker, as you can see, so Flandre's burst is not going to be nearly as potent just because of Bin's itemization choices. They're going to give up on that dive, especially because they have no vision on Knight, right? They know he doesn't have that Destiny, but him resetting with the home guards, he could easily get to that top side if there was a dive. As replay
this is that play from earlier.
Oh, yeah. I actually thought Bin was totally dead to this tower shot.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, that just feels so bad. He doesn't die to the DFT, at least.
Well, he does clear the wave, so there you go for Flandre. And then... That's so unlucky. That's so sad. That's so sad. You know, for all of the hyping up that we've done of Knight over this series, it's nice to know that this guy is still a human being and can make mistakes.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's humbling.
It's humbling. Yeah, exactly. We'll see how humble he really is. We're going to get another all-in. This time it's going to work out, though. Flandre isn't under tower. He's not backing. He gets locked down, and side lane play coming to fruition for BLG. They just need a little bit more damage. Flandre barely making it out, but Ben's going to wait for his cooldowns. He's going to get ran out. He's going to not make it. Oh, he finally gets the slam down. Luckily, Ambessa does have distance. They do capitalize on the back end of the play, and Tarzan takes down Knight, and now it's Ben that has to TP out.
And he's TPing to mid to clear the wave. This guy's a gamer, so he's going to get shoved there as well because he knows that Shanks is going to be able to shove in that topside wave. Now Kael, though, is in the river, but AL are all around this topside. I don't know if BLG want to be fighting for this crab.
Yeah, I think Kael really wanted that hook to land there. That would have been an impressive start to what would have been an AL-centered fight. They do end up pushing out that top side as well. We have our first items coming through. The Cyclo Sword there for Tarzan, so some early power there, as well as having the Tunneler. We're getting a little 1v1 action in the ADC role.
Oh, deadly
it's
flourish
gonna be
landed.
a curtain call opened up. This cease and desist coming through, waiting for the fourth shot. It's going to be Shun that takes the kill instead.
Yeah, Shun didn't even want to wait to maybe give Hope a chance to escape. He just immediately said, all right, this is my kill. I want it. Gets the lump sum of gold. And now BLG, with that kill pressure and the wave pushing in bot, maybe want to look to try to get a play into AL's jungle, but they're going to think better of it. and ultimately back on away. So it's just going to be a little bit of missed resources there from Hope. Curiously enough, Viper actually doesn't even pick up a plate. He just got the assist, said my job is done, took a reset. So yeah, good guy Viper.
Good guy Viper. Good guy Jin. They go hand in hand. That's how it goes. Don't let anybody tell you differently. That being said, I think something I've been super impressed of, and I always am, for AL, is their deep vision. I think if you've kept track, they've had entire quadrants of BLG's jungle lit up. And if it's not one side, it's the other side, back and forth. So it's been really impressive. And now they're going to try to use some of that into an engage, into 3v3, making it a 4v3 now in favor of AL. That does mean BLG are going to start backing away. Viper's coming over. No curtain call available for him, so he's going to just have to do the dirty work. As Knight gets engaged on, Kael goes too far. Knight takes the kill there, a yellow card to the dome. And AL now forced to throw out the white flag, forced to run away, but Knight wants more. He's got the yellow card ready, but he's not going to go forward just yet. Some rockets coming back. Really nice turnaround from AL to keep them safe after Kael went down.
Yeah, AL only losing one there, I think, is probably the best case scenario because Kael is already back on the map. You don't actually give up any vision on this bot side river because we've got Dragon in about 30 seconds. Had more AL members gone a little bit deeper there and had BLG gotten maybe even one more kill, they would have been able to easily press into that river and kind of forsake all of the, or forsook, I guess is the word, all of the deep vision that you were just talking about, Mazel. So that is going to, at the very least, stick for AL ahead of this objective. And now the big question is just getting push in this mid lane. But you can see Knight is kind of off to the side with that Destiny. I'm keeping my eye on this Twisted Fate.
There's the Destiny gate. At least coming through, dodging out of the engage. Kael misses another dredge line. TP's coming in, though. Shanks joins the fight, tries to go on to Bin. Viper on the other side, putting in some work. Kael's going to get ran down here, and Viper sinks a fourth shot in. It's going to be Bin getting soloed by Flandre over here. You got to be careful. The shielding can be very elusive for the Mbessa. This is still a win for BLG as they clear Kael off the board, and they take control of the top side.
Kael going down twice in a row, just trying to fish for picks, trying to fish for engages, but AL weren't all synced up there, right? They had Flandre split from the rest of the team, so now the result is going to be AL still being split from the map, but BLG maybe starting up this Herald, going to think better of it, not fully commit onto the objective, because again, the death timers are still short. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, despite the amount of action in this game, we are still only 15 minutes into it somehow.
Yeah, Kill a Minnow will do that. In the break was sneaky. Like made you think we were calming down, and then we instantly got back into it and having 3v3s, 3v4s, and now we're having a Rift Herald being taken by AL as they use that sinking pressure in the top side to go ahead and take that one away. That's going to be a big one if they want to try to take down one of these outer turrets. As Dragon is up and available, does mean there is the distraction Carnifex play for the Rift Herald for AL.
A Knight with no ultimate either means that BLG can't really look for these creative flank angles unless Bin maybe has a ward to teleport to. But looking on the vision for BLG with this bot side, there isn't a ton to really look at. So AL are, like you said, going to charge that Herald. They're going to get the mid tower, and it will fall. So giving AL further incentive to just keep looking for those deep wards, right? The more turrets you get, the deeper you can push that vision line. And like we've already established in this game, Mazel, AL are so good at being able to do that. Now they've started up the Dragon. It's already at about half.
Although On's going to get engaged on double TPs coming in from both top laners. On's getting low, but On is surviving. Shanks joins with the Realm Warp, opening up the doors is going to be Viper trying to get some damage in. Dragon had already gotten secured by AL, so they should be fine. A lot of resources used, but AL stand the test of time in that fight.
Yup, and really good engage there from Kael. Manages to connect the dredge line. Last couple of times we've seen him, they really haven't stuck, and he's gone down in those regards. So finally sees one, gets it, and then manages to get out. No kills go over, but they chunk out On low enough to the point where BLG don't feel comfortable really engaging into the Pandas. So that gets them the Dragon. They now tie that neutral objective score up, and Like you said a little bit earlier, we got those 1-item spikes. Now we're starting to get those 2-item spikes. We can see that the Lich Bane was acquired for Knight. So this is really when the damage starts to come through on the Twisted Fate. He's getting very close to also stacking that Roa completely. So now your eyes got to be glued to that Destiny timer if they weren't before.
And that's something I want to bring up here, because I know we were talking about the chaotic early game for BLG, but we're getting out of this early game here, and we're getting to a point where these items are really going to start coming through, and some of the scaling is going to be a factor. As we take a look at an attempted play in topside, Tarzan just hiding in vision there, out of vision, trying to go for the counter play here, going straight on the Shun. Shun dies. Tarzan gonna get the shield up here too. He's gonna try to dash out under the turret. Ben's trying to chase him down, but Ben will be able to dash away from harm's way. A couple more shots from Viper would do everything against Flandre, but he doesn't find it in the end. It's still going to be the push for BLG in favor in that top side, though. On's overextended here.
Destiny.
On's just going to die. That's a huge pick. The yellow card comes through as well. Ben going to go deep here with Viper and Knight at his side. Deadly Flare's going to be flashed out of. Kael now is fighting this good fight here. Knight's going low. Knight's going down to the burns, but Viper's finding himself some cleanup kills and just calling the janitor because it's the cleanup crew, baby. Viper finds himself too.
I love this game. Mazel curtain call comes through. Kael gets out of the range, but there is still a wave there. Viper can just cross over. Oh, it's ring around the rosy.
Oh my god, Kyle's about to die to the minions. Okay, he's fine. Has the shield. Shanks TPs. Everything calm. 12 to 12 in kills. 24 kills in 19 minutes.
I absolutely love this game. It's such a good time, and like you said, we're now starting to kind of coast this mid game. Right, where AL, I feel, are at their strongest. They're within 1K of BLG, so I feel like now is really going to be their moment to take over, because this is when traditionally they're able to kind of, you know, get control of games and make those plays on their tempo, on Tarzan's tempo. The leader of the Pandas, more or less, says, we do get a replay. Good kill onto Shun, and then on, overextending a little bit. Kael has been a huge fan of just the flash autos, because autos aren't skill shots. Right? So why throw out a drench line when an auto will do the trick?
I mean, this fight gets so chaotic. We're looking at this fight, but there is more happening on the map.
Oh, my lord.
A 3-man realm warp into the top side. Knight.
He
lives out of there. He's fine. The turret knock up, the cease and desist. Shanks down. Oh my god, BLG just somehow turn everything around here. Yellow card's ready to go there for Knight. Here comes Hope to put some damage back in. Shun is feeling oh so tanky now, and now it's Hope that gets locked down. A beautiful vault breaker. Shun is dancing around these fights, man.
And I feel like the turret on the top side is a foregone conclusion, but 3 dead. BLG, interestingly enough, not going to commit fully to the Baron. Instead, they want to look onto Tarzan.
Yeah, look for a little bit more. Oh my god, Destiny Gates back up. Yellow card to the dome, and that is a dead doggy as Knight takes his 6th kill of the game.
Respawns are starting to come through here as Flandre overheats.
Oh, the deadly flourish connects, and the dancing grenade not enough, but Viper recharging, not able to get the reload in time. The shield came through, and Flandre is fine.
Viper, curse you, reload mechanic! Doesn't manage to get the kill. He lives with 1 HP. But BLG, from what was like a 900-ish gold lead before all of this fighting on the top side happened, has now kind of sprung to a 2.3. So the needle has been moved significantly over the last couple of minutes, Mazel, as we do get a replay here.
Man.
And yeah, Knight is just too tanky. I mean, he's got the Roa. That gives you so much HP. He lives the upfront burst. AL have to run for the hills. BLG's response is equally as expedient as AL's initial engage onto the Twisted Fate. But they get the kills. They make it worth it. And now, back to life. There's a dragon.
Yeah, the biggest difference there is Hope didn't make it into the Realm Warp. If he makes it in the Realm Warp, that fight is 100% AL's, but he did not make it. He tried to Valkyrie, was just short. Now AL on that return play will be going for their 2nd dragon. They secure it, so that'll be continuation of the stacking objective for AL. But all of a sudden, you see this lead has kind of ballooned to about 3,000 gold for BLG, and they are just going to be death squatting it up now. If they can find picks, that is the biggest difference.
They're fully maneuvered into this top side because of the push from Ben. it's also a 4v4, but crucially, Jhin has that ultimate, so the long-range curtain call can provide assistance, whereas Flandre not really in the area to do anything, but that play gonna end up fizzling out here. I think really what BLG are looking for now is just to crack down this mid turret, right? This mid tier 1 will allow them to really jockey for vision. I think that On has actually struggled a little bit in this game. We talk about the proactivity from Kael and his roams. I think he's frankly gotten the better of On in the early game, and I do think that the Karma not being able to really move up and get some of those deep wards has really impacted particularly Shun's ability to look aggressive on the Vi. Now it's starting to kind of come through and be made up for, just because I think BLG, like we said, have taken control of this mid game with the gold lead. But once this turret gets taken, I would like to see BLG play a little bit further up, and On in particular needs to be the one placing down that vision.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the vision war has changed hands here, it feels like, and it's definitely in favor of BLG. And being able to have that information is so crucial for a comp like theirs. It was definitely a hands check, and so far they've been able to reach it. 3 items now completed there for Knight. He does have his rapid fire. Also 8 stacks on the Dark Seal. Not too shabby there. 3rd item also completed for Viper. So they are just reaching these item breakpoints a little bit quicker.
Yep, they are. And I don't necessarily think that it will pay massive dividends as long as AL can get to their 3 item breakpoints, you know, within the next 2 or so minutes. They could be able to fight for this dragon. I do think specifically the big gold discrepancy though is in that mid lane, partially because of Twisted Fate passive, right? I've talked a little bit about Twisted Fate
and Knight's
his
passive,
gold leads
right?
being, well, yeah, and Knight's passive where he just like spins.
He just has
gold.
a literal golden left hand, like he just prints money.
Yep, and he like sells it for money, and then he like gets a new one. You know, he's like an alchemist on the side.
Yes.
So he's got a ton of gold, and his 3 item is a full item up over Shanks. But crucially, I don't think Shanks is too bothered by that. He's got the fully stacked row. He's got the Seraph. So this is still a good point for you to be at if you are Rise. But it just means that there's so much importance on the Twisted Fate and maneuvering around these side lanes. And that's going to be crucial for setting up around this dragon. If AL try to push these waves, a stray Destiny could just kind of pop up over your head, and there's the 3 item Twisted Fate.
And that's a really tough part to deal with. Not only is it the TF that always just feels so slippery and so ready for engages, but it's also just the fact that it's also Knight. And, you know, that makes a heck of a difference, at least, in terms of the impact that we're going to see from this pick. And you can see that AL is trying to struggle to find their way here. Have about a minute and a half until that next dragon comes up. Would be soul point for them, but might not be a position they feel super comfortable fighting into. They do have the Serpent's Fang now completed for Tarzan, so some of that shielding is going to go away, but I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make if you can't hit that break point on the other carries.
I'm starting to lean toward the latter half of that opinion, Mazel. I think that AL, they're now moving into the river, but it does kind of feel like BLG will be able to aptly respond. Tarzan is actually looking for a scenic route pathway here, as Dark and Dagger is actually going to get spotted out by Bin. So they know that the Neferi is kind of off to the side, and you can see because of that, BLG are a little bit more comfortable to move in and catch this mid-wave high.
Yeah, I mean, even Shun's taking a lane there up in the top side, trying to siege up the turret a little bit. Kael wanting to make a play, but the traps are all over. Can't really find an entrance in. See the card starting to throw through. Flandre ready to go. It's going to be a team fight we're setting up for here. 20 seconds out, it seems. AL do not want to give this one up.
Looking at the item inventories, we don't have the 3 item breakpoints you know, coming through from most of the members on AL, so it feels like BLG will be walking into this fight with a bit of an advantage in that regard.
Ooh, Kyle thought he had it. That's going to be the curtain call opened up now. Shun waiting to go in. They might just want to take Kael out of the fight. 4-shot goes in. Shun was thinking about it. Destiny's going to be popped. The gate not yet opened. He's going to go for a little bit of a setup on the bot side of the play. Was looking for a yellow card. Has the rapid fire. Is able to get it off on a Flandre. Flandre resetting the lines here as AL used this control ward in the bush really effectively. TP is going to come in to get the
Teleport.
shield from Bin,
Yep.
so he can get that massive
Kael.
amount of shield, the health to work with. Knight gets engaged on, but they immediately turn it around with the Seekers, at least going gold in there, and it's going to be some resets coming through for AL, though it's Shanks that gets the kill on the Bin. It's BLG that collapsed on the Flandre. Tarzan's going to go back in on the Knight, trying to get this kill. The golden left hand remains elusive. He's going to get away, but the Realm Warp coming through from Shanks. He might be able to find
tagged
it now.
him.
The
Red
lockdown
pet.
there. Knight is gone. Tarzan gets another one, but the Dragon is in eyes of BLG. They secure it. They're going to walk away towards this mid lane.
All right, so they do manage to get the kill onto Knight. It was a very difficult task, but they managed to succeed in that regard. Tarzan, though, now forced to run. Shanks completed his recall, so this dog is all alone. Hope is here to try and provide assistance, but it's 2v3.
Okay, Viper is just feeling speedy right now on 3 items. He hits the Deadly Flourish, and he's going to go ahead and hit the dab on him, too, with the Dancing Grenade there. Might as well. He's going to get the speed up from the Storm Razor proc there off the dog of Tarzan. Tarzan's going to try to bypass, but Shun does end up getting the kill there, having to burn his flash. Now they're going to try to find Shanks, but Shanks is dicey as well. He's pretty speedy. Kael looking for a return gank now. The Dredge Line hits onto the wall. Not able to hit the Dredge Line onto Viper. And still chaos as we have it, but now a 5,000 gold lead developed by BLG.
Yeah, and frankly, Hope dying for the sins of his jungler. Tarzan sticking around just a little too long. The rest of BLG managed to collapse onto him, so it's 2 additional kills on top of the fight that we are going to get a replay of. BLG played this so well. So Kael initially looks, then Viper flashes away. Tarzan looks, but Knight goes golden. So all of the initial attempts at an engage from AL fail and fall flat. Then BLG are able to move in, and they pick them off one by one. As we go back to live, Baron is being started.
Yeah, we do see he's already almost dead. AL can't even get over here. Tarzan's not even close, and the Baron actually goes over to On. He was going to secure that one in the end, but that's 5 Baron capes for BLG, and it's a troubling situation for AL.
It definitely is, but gotta mention the not getting the smite, and then it is at like 1 HP, and then the support finishes it. Not only does it raise your blood pressure levels, like, oh my god, they're gonna steal it because I left it vulnerable for half a second, but also the shame that you feel as a jungler for giving the execute over to your support. Just take your walk of atonement, you know?
Or you can use that to buff them up. Say you needed that to get your all-pro votes in. If you saw that little lower third, you can go get some all-pro votes in for either On or Kael. But On did just take the Baron, so maybe give him some love over there. Close voting will be there at least tomorrow at around midnight. So make sure, at least PT. So make sure you get your votes in. But as we realign into this game, still a very daunting task for AL. 6,000 gold up, map pressure to boot, and Kael missing another engage. He's going to try to lock down, but Shun now has the GA, so he can kind of play with his life here. Kael doesn't get to play with his, as he is just dead, and BLG collapse onto the bot side.
Yup, and Shun, half HP, no problem. He's twice as bold with that Guardian Angel. And does get the kill onto Kael, now his 7th of the game. This Nautilus has been finding really key picks. Hang on, speaking of picks.
Oh my god, he's trying to get the curtain. Oh! The Realm Warp just sold Tarzan, as they are no longer there to block the shots. Tarzan does fall, and that is not something you love to see, as AL are starting to lose control of this game 1.
They are. BLG are pushing on 2 fronts. We can see the mid wave is crashing, but also the bot lane one being controlled by Viper as well. They are closing their grip around the Pandas, unfortunately, and it was a pretty back and forth early game, but one mid-game play kind of goes wrong for AL. That topside dive onto Knight really spun the game out of control for AL, and now BLG have taken firm control of this one.
Ben tries to go for a public execution. The delay is a little bit too long there, and he wasn't able to get it in. As that will be at least retreat for now from BLG. They have about 30 seconds left on that Baron, but they will just get these backs off before the Dragon comes up in about 50.
Yup, they should be able to claim control of it. You can see that AL are looking to kind of sweep out any vision. Maybe they want to fight for this Dragon, but I mean, frankly, at this point, you're 10,000 gold down. This feels like such a tough situation to be in, Mazel, because you want to fight it to deny the soul point and keep the win condition of soul alive, but at the same time, your odds of actually winning the fight are slim to none as Kael is being engaged on teleport coming through from Bin.
Nice pull from Tarzan. He's going to try to go back on.
They got on!
Dead. They got the reset, but he's dead too. Oh my god!
Holy
the damage coming out
moly.
from Viper with the bouncing grenade there. The dancing grenade, rather. The deadly flourish. Dude, these guys are just playing with them. It's Knight. It's Viper. It's all a BLG at this point, making AL's life hell. This is an important series for AL. They want to secure that second seed, but BLG stand tall in their way and tall in game number 1.
AL needed to 2-0 this series in order to lock second, and unfortunately, at best, they get a 2-1. So BLG are going to shut them out of being on their coattails. They're going to shut them out of the silver medal in the regular spring split, and BLG with a dominant late game to get the first win.
A 1-0 lead to our final series, and it is just like BLG. Take this chaotic early game and turn it into a weapon to use against their opponents. And my God, did we have a lot of kills in that game number 1.
But it was so fun. You know, you should never hear a color caster who values downtime and like analysis to say, I love it when I never get to talk about the analysis and there's just constant action. But I'm telling you right now, that was a really entertaining game. If you are not entertained, are you not entertained? I feel is a pretty apt movie quote to put onto this game and onto this series. I think that this being the last series of the regular spring split, Mazel, it's absolutely delivering.
Yeah, it is indeed. I think this BLG team is just showing the brawn that they do have. I think yes, they lost 2 series and they were very weird series to lose. They were both 2-0s, but in the end, it's still a matter of fact that this BLG team has been so impressive in how they can just out-hands opponents. Doesn't matter what rank you are, doesn't matter what we've seen from other teams. It just feels like BLG is that next level.
Yeah. Okay. Small correction. AL just need to win this series to get second. So I'm actually wrong. They still have a chance.
Numbers bigger, numbers good.
Win good. And I mean, BLG feel like a very momentous team, right? Like we talked about the 2 losses that they have had being 0-2. When they are down, I feel like it is up to them to kind of pick themselves back up. But when they're up, it's up to everyone to knock them down. And very few teams, no teams have been able to do that. There's been no 2-1 losses for BLG. So yeah, I'm actually extremely excited to see what we have in store for the rest of this series. As yeah, we talked about the early game, you know, Knight roams and
Quax.
Shun, Viper.
Dude, there's one number in there, and who is it? It's not a 4. Look at that, most damage in the game. When does that ever happen? Jin's taking over the world?
37.6.
It's the Yumu Stormrazor start.
I really liked the Youmuu's start, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think that movement is super valuable into a comp like this, where, you know, they've got the snap engage of things like the Nautilus, right? Like the Nefiri. So just having the ability to kind of maneuver around fights is really, really important. That's kind of what Viper was doing in the late game. I mean, he was moving on them in those like post 20-minute fights. So a lot of credit over to him, but a lot of credit to the top side in the early game. Like Knight and Shun in particular, not without their hiccups and their mistakes, as I'm sure we'll see the very funny Destiny up toward the top side in these replays potentially. But it felt like they kind of carved the way for Viper to take over in the late game, right? All of a sudden, this Jin is hitting you for like 300, 400 in auto, and it felt like it was a byproduct of just so much pressure being laid down early to mid by the BLG top side.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some of these in-between plays. I gotta give it to Kael. Man was putting his life on the line, as every Nautilus should. But it was just BLG that kept finding residual kills, the kind of little moments that made big changes. This one right here, man, if hope is there, that is a dead Knight, and this fight goes so differently. At least you would think.
Yeah, it like this is really the game that broke it open in my opinion for BLG, because at this point, like they had a like an 800 900 gold lead, and then we kind of went back to live after the replay and they were at like 2.3k, and then we went to another fight, another replay, and then they were at 3k, and the game just spiraled out of control from there. So BLG, it's just like how they play League. You give them a finger, they'll take the whole arm. This is a team that is so good at being able to take advantages and just stretch them out as much as humanly possible. These late game fights, credit over to AL. A few of them did look fairly close. And again, like you said, you know, all the love to Kael for, you know, getting those dredge lines and trying to fish for picks. Bit inconsistent on the results, but it's the thought that counts.
Oh man, Knights. Total denial of what AL wanted to do in that fight was impressive. All he does is press one button, and it's just like that. But I mean, you think about it on paper, and this was what I was so terrified when we were looking at the draft, is like they have so many fight starters. They have so many good CC combinations. When I see a team specifically named BLG with those tools, that is terrifying, no matter which way you look at it.
I absolutely agree. I mean, this is like BLG. They play to their style, and I feel like we're able to execute on it pretty well in the late game. I do think that mid and early, like, we were getting a little bit, we were kind of perking our eyebrows up a little bit, Mazel, where we were like, okay, BLG are typically like 3 to 2k up over their opponents at like 15 minutes, if not more, especially recently. I feel like they've gotten a lot more dominant in their early game victories. But this was a game where the gold lead was relatively close to contention with one another. So I think AL got what they wanted in regards to an even early game. Going into the mid game, you were more or less on the same ground. But then again, that one play, that one failed play on the top side just spun it out of control. So even though they went down, like, AL played their style. They achieved their goal of slowing down the pace and or just allowing the pace to be somewhat dictated by them. And I do feel like that was our biggest question going into this series, was can they actually wrestle control of the game state from BLG? And are BLG just going to run over and make every single decision, fight every single fight on their terms? That answer is absolutely no. So in that regard, I think AL succeeded. It's just a question of if they can kind of carry that torch past the mid game.
I'm torn here because part of me says Shun deserves it, the player of the game.
Viper.
Part of me says Jin deserves it, and Viper tangentially. But it's Jin first. But it will be Viper that gets the MVP for game number 1. Incredible stuff from him, able to lay down some damage, most damage in the game, as well as a Jin. Doesn't come often, and a nice little side spotlight for a guy who has had some not maybe greatest moments of his hit career, but also losing a lot of the spotlight to some of the other members on BLG. So nice to see him regain it.
How many did you see how many MVP votes the guy who played Jin got? Say it with me, Mazel.
4.
4. All right, there we go.
4. Yay. Yay, Jin. Anyways, that was our game number 1 of our final series of the LPL regular split. BLG lead it 1-0. We'll see if AL can bounce back after